A few weeks ago, the weather forecast promised one of those rare, perfect autumn days, so we couldn't resist booking the time off work, packing up the car and heading off on a road trip around some of our favourite places in Scotland. So join us as we dive into the breathtaking colours of autumn, revisit beloved locations and soak up the magic of a perfect Scottish day. I used to come here a lot as a kid. My mum and dad would bring me up, and it's kind of when I was 10 or 11 that I fell in love with Scotland. And this place was probably the cause of that. I'd never seen anything like this before. And then you suddenly, kind of after all the motorway through Glasgow, end up looking at the shores of Loch Lomond and Ben Lomond in the background. It's just so beautiful. When we first came up here, 40 years ago, none of this Duck Bay Marina existed at all. It was just a wooden shack that sold really horrible tea and coffee out of polystyrene cups, but now you've got the most beautiful cafe and restaurant. They've really put a lot of money into this place, and it's so much better than it was.
Best way to start the day? Breakfast roll, cup of tea.
Here we are at Falls of Falloch, one of our favourite waterfalls.
Place is awesome. Still love it. Been here a million times with the weather like this. Just fantastic.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Next stop?
Good question.
Tyndrum.
Tyndrum. Coffee and cake. So behind me is the Real Food Café. We've been here far too many times. We like to stop here every time that we're going up into the Highlands. There's a place just down the road. I think it's now called Tyndrum Holiday Park, but it used to be called Pine Trees. And they have loads of little kind of log cabins and trekkers huts. And we've stayed there quite a few times and walked up and down the West Highland way from that point. Wait for the car to go past. Anyway, we're going to dive into the Real Food Café, get a cup of coffee, maybe a bit of cheeky cake. This place is great. They do quite a lot for charity. They do a lot of kind of organised litter picking events around this area. Their food is fantastic. The fish and chips are not to be missed, and I believe they're gluten-free. And the coffee's good as well. So let's go and have some coffee, recharge a little bit. I can take some more lemsip because I'm not feeling the best today. And then we're going to head down to the lead mines. We're just walking down to a section of the West Highland Way that we've walked a number of times, and I wish you'd fallen over then, because we've stayed in Tyndrum a number of times before. We've walked up and down this section of West Highland Way quite a lot. We're going to go down towards the lead mines, the old area there where they used to do a lot of lead mining, and then head on down to the Lochan, where apparently Robert the Bruce threw his sword into the water after a defeat in battle.
Jeez.
There you go, you can have my disease. This is the holiday park that I was talking about earlier. It used to be called Pine Trees. We've stayed there quite a few times in some of their, what do you call them, hikers' huts? Pods, camping pods, glamping pods, whatever. Pretty cool. We've not actually stayed there since they've changed hands though. No idea what it's like.
I think
but
they've made some updates, so they've added some pods.
Okay, well let's
Then
see
have
if
a
we
look.
can film a little bit as we walk past. So we're now walking a section of the West Highland Way. We wanted to do this walk for a long time. The route goes from Mulgai all the way up to Fort William. I think we're kind of roughly in the middle. Yeah, so we wanted to do this many times. We were going to walk it with Dave and Lenny, who you would have seen in our Iceland video. But when we had it planned, COVID kind of came in and shut all of that down. But we will do it at some point, and obviously we'll make a video when we do.
This is the Lochan of the Lost Sword, where Robert the Bruce and his army threw their weapons. Apparently his sword and his army's swords are supposed to be at the bottom of that loch. Who knows? Should we go and see if we can find them?
Behind me is the Tyndrum Inn. We've had some great nights in there. Plenty of beer, plenty of good grub. Definitely recommended. Thank you, Mr. Laurie, appreciate that. Green Welly stop, one of the most famous stops, I guess, on this route. Top tip, if you're staying in Tyndrum and you fancy a little snack, right next door to Green Welly is a little key store. And I'm sure I assume that we can get sandwiches and Coke and that sort of stuff in here. So we're just going to pop in and grab a little bite to eat for lunch. Because next stop for food is probably Oban, which is quite a long way away from here. Anyway, snack sport, time to munch. Nom nom nom. Next stop, Oban.
We love Oban.
Yeah, another one of our favourite places. We'll take you on a little tour around the town. And
Maybe get an ice cream?
Ooh, ice cream. Or more coffee.
And a coffee.
And a cake. We didn't have a cake at Tyndrum, did we? We were going to have a cake.